Yeah. So you wanna try it soon? What Swami just now? And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda commences tonight's satsang with a Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We begin with mystic song by Sri Swami Lalitananda, played and sung by Sri Swami Umananda and Rajneesh.
Our song tonight is called Let Me Love You Alone. Hey Prabhu, Ananda, Gata, all alone I walk, though friends pretend to be so dear to me. I know none can go with me, and none came with me. The world may fall with 1,000 promises, but I turn my steps away. How can words secure my deep, deep love? For a cloud of virtues I see. My love alone is for Him who shines within my heart. Tender, sweet, so green. Hey, Prabhu, Ananda, Gata. It is you who are the giver of bliss. Hey Prabhu, Ananda, Data. Oh Bhagavan, let me love you. We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is September the 2nd, 2020, Wednesday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on the Yoga Vasistha. This is series 2018, class number 270. And now Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvasvitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasyagilakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Triguna-rahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. A relationship with Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha in Nirvana Prakarana Purvardha, section 11. The vision of all this is Brahman. The topic is always on a very advanced level, but as you follow, you will have great inspiring hints regarding your daily sadhana. Sri Rama asked, O sage, please explain the nature of the mystical vision which does not allow these glorious sages and divinities to become involved in the illusion of the world process. Two types of vision. Bhrant drishti, deluded vision. Jnana drishti, wisdom-based vision. Wisdom-based vision is the highest vision, paramadrishti. Paramadrishti is that experience which is eternal. All the reflected suns and all their drishtis are bhranta drishti. The sun is the real drishti behind all that. That point has to be understood. So, the project before an aspirant is not to stay in a world of deluded vision, but to proceed towards enlightened vision. Sri Vasistha said, O Rama, listen to the spiritual conviction that is adopted by these liberated beings. This world of enjoyable objects is nothing but a snare prepared by the magic of Maya. When the veil of Maya is lifted, all this is nothing but Brahman. Brahman manifests as the various planes of existence, as the numerous souls sojourning through the world process, as friends and relatives, as the three periods of time. For easy understanding, think of your dream. The entire dream setup is very same as your daily practical life. Countless things are there. Your near and dear ones, your jobs, you have your ducks to put them together. And you have to face many challenges in your dream. All that is experienced in your daily life, all that becomes possible in your dream. And what more so, in dream you don't know you are dreaming. So that vision of your dream is bhranta drishti, deluded vision. Waking up from your dream, that's called jnana drishti. But I'm not talking about waking up, I'm using dream as allegorical illustration. To wake up, that point has to be understood, and that's what our topic is. As waves continue to rise and fall ceaselessly, in the same manner, this world continues to manifest in the ocean of Brahman. First point to understand that if you want to study the world using your deluded vision, that world is beyond your imagination. How vast it is, etc. Even look the pages of geography and astronomy. It is Brahman that surges in Brahman. And example is being given of the ocean. You see, in the ocean, how many waves are there? But all those waves, they are surging in the wave, in the ocean. You can as well say, ocean is surging in the ocean, because waves are nothing but the ocean. But you are caught by emotion, then every wave says goodbye to all your dreams. In other words, become captured by every predicament presented by every wave. How can attachment and hatred develop before the majestic vision of non-duality? If in your dream, suddenly, suppose you have become awakened consciousness, this is my dream. But now you can understand, can you be attached to any of the dream vision? Can you have that type of inner setup within your heart that you want to stay with any object of your dream, any relative of your dream, or any situation of your dream? Once you have understood it is a dream, it's all illusion. Similarly, as you grow on the spiritual path, your mind has to be settled with this understanding that the world is not going to be with you forever. So if this is the world where you are looking for your perfect fulfillment, that will not be possible. So you have to look something in a different way. Just as an imaginary tree does not obstruct the space in the sky, in the same manner, the defects of attachment and hatred do not mar the transcendent glory of the self. For easy understanding, think of you become aware while dreaming. That is a dream. So what are you doing? You are seeing your own dream subject going through lots of turmoils. Can be very tragic, but you have a vision that sees all this is a dream. So there is a space within your heart that is untouched by all that. All that goes on, but deeper personality in you, the I am, is completely unaffected. And there is no question of dealing with raga dvesha relating to the objects of your dream. Neither you want to hold on nor to reject. It's all illusion. Brahman is well satisfied in Brahman. Fullness flows in fullness. A sage is ever aware of this fact. Aham Brahmasmi. This is what you hear in the peace chant. Purnamadaha Purnamidam. All this is full. And everything that has arisen out of the full is full. And all that has arisen is out of through Maya. Therefore, if all this is taken away, full remains absolutely full. If there is any other way of thinking, it is foolish, fool. So that's the vision of fullness that must enter deep in your personality. The I am body, how wonderful health have I, is not fullness. How wonderful intellect. I can outsmart all these people. I'm joking. But that's foolish. So any type of affirmation based on body, mind, intellect, objects of the world, all that is erroneous vision. The absolute vision, Aham Brahmasmi, I alone am, I am Brahman. While the waves in the ocean toil and struggle, the ocean is ever contented. While the waves are overpowered by the illusion of mortality and gain and loss, the ocean is ever unaffected by these. You must realize you have, through mental illusion, your understanding limits itself to a wave in the midst of waves. But the same understanding, which is absence of sanmati, is kumati. But same understanding, when it comes to sumati, purified understanding, a wave enjoys all its existence as expressing the glory of the ocean. Every wave has its identity. Who am I? Ocean. Waves don't have different identities. Led by ignorance, you may develop that type of another picture. Every wave is like has a certain identity. As long as it's appearing, so that wave is going to the west, that going to the east. That wave is dying down, that wave is rising up. So that way, if you think, every wave is in trouble, turmoil. And its turmoil is incurable. No matter which way you put the wave to go, it's not going to stay. It will always be in a turmoil. But the solution, ocean alone is real. In the same manner, he who possesses the vision of the ocean-like self is ever untouched by the world process. To a blind person, this world is submerged in the ocean of darkness. But for a person possessing eyesight, it is illumined by the light of the sun. Simple illustration. A blind man living in the same world can't see. You who have eyes, you are seeing so many things. And again, if you can put on different colored glasses, you change the whole creation within a moment. Everything gets colored. In the same manner, those who are blinded by ignorance find the world abounding with pleasure and pain, while those who are illumined by knowledge find this world to be nothing but Brahman, the blissful self. O Rama, how can the imperishable Brahman be affected by deaths of the perishable and illusory body? How can ocean be affected by the death of a wave? Or how can the sky be affected by the death and the drift of the clouds? And how can a projection, the screen, be affected by projections? Just as the ocean's waves, foam, bubbles, eddies, whirlpools, these are all poetic language. This is what you are experiencing. Not only wave, but foam, bubbles. Some relations are just little trouble, breaks like a bubble. So you should not fumble. Be humble. Do not grumble. The eddies, whirlpools, but they are all nothing but the ocean. In the same manner, the multiplicity of objects in this world are nothing but Brahman. The body, mind, intellect, senses, subtle elements, ego sense, and 3 periods of time are all nothing but Brahman, the Absolute. Human experiences of pleasure and pain, like experiences in dream, they are all illusory and non-existent. When gold is not recognized as gold, it is perceived as a mere valueless stone that has no potential to remove the disease of poverty. Same gold can be seen as just ordinary stone, and you can just kick the stone and go on. Or you can hold the stone, beautify your neck, and still go on borrowing money. So, such is illusion. Mind becomes deluded by Maya, by ignorance. A friend may appear as a stranger when seen from a distance, but when seen from up close, he is immediately recognized as one's friend. In the same manner, through ignorance, Brahman is not recognized as Brahman, but is perceived as the jiva, individual soul struggling through the world process. But when Brahman is discovered through knowledge, through jnana, then jivahood ceases to exist, and Brahman becomes one's very self. It's like every wave is the ocean. Every reflected sun is the sun. When the mind of the seeker develops the conviction that in this world there is nothing worth thinking of or pursuing, it then flows towards Brahman and ultimately blends with Brahman. This is an echo of Gita's statement, Krishna's statement, Ashocyanan Ashochastvam. All that you are grieving for is not worth grieving for. All that you are worrying about, they are not worth grieving for. Put it another way, all your shoch term is mental power to think and to understand. But all your mental power, your shoch, is going after worldly objects which don't exist. And lesson given, therefore, having understood all you are thinking about, all the mental energy that you are losing over, trying to understand intellectually, your Shocha Shakti is being wasted. Ma Shucha, stop doing that. Let your Shocha Shakti move towards who am I? And how glorious am I as the self? And how miserable have I become in this little pot of water? The water is your mental process. Once that vision has dawned, now it becomes your duty, your skill for your evolution to repeat it. Repeat the confirmation again and again and again. Sometimes in your meditation, in your calm state of mind, suddenly you have a revelation that you are totally untouched by your problems. God is resolving them. But then you lose that and your mind gets trapped with so many things. The moral behind it, try to assert it again and again, what you saw as your inspiration. Do not lose yourself in perspiration. When there is the deep-rooted conviction regarding the illusoriness of duality, then the spirit beholds the majesty of non-duality. A wise sage is rooted in the convictions. The convictions imply dridha nishchaya, firm conviction within yourself, not ordinary mental opinion, but complete affirmation, conviction. And that becomes another great sadhana on the spiritual path. First begin with affirmation, until your affirmation becomes absolute conviction. I am without karma, without misery. Now these are the affirmations. You have read all the law of karma, etc. Sit back. Put in your mind this whisper of truth, that I am without karma. I am the sun reflecting in a little mental process. So one side of me is the reflected one, constantly shaking. But the real me is eternal. without misery, without delusion, without desires. I am the non-dual self, ever the same, free of grief, of homogeneous essence. Homogeneous implying absolutely unchanging, ever the same. I am free of the imaginations of I-ness, mindness, and all perceptions of duality. All these perceptions, from advanced point of view, are like imaginations. They come and go in your mind. For me, there is nothing to accept or to reject. I am this body consisting of blood and flesh. I am also the pure consciousness transcending the body. In Vedanta, you have always heard, I am not the body. Now you are being put into a still higher level. Yes, I am the body, but of all the bodies. I am Brahman. And that's the absolute truth. Brahman manifests in the form of all your elements. All the matter, material world is ultimately expression of Brahman through Maya. I am the heavenly worlds. I am the sky, shining with the effulgence of the sun. I am the forests, mountains, oceans, and all living beings. Turning your vision to inspiring revelation about your I am. The I am that has been constantly presented by your mind as the most miserable spirit. Happy one day, not happy another day. Never secure. And constantly struggling. But that presentation of your miserable mind, I'm speaking allegorically, is not either the truth. So ignoring all what mind normally presents, allow your vision, following the Yoga Nidra style of spiritual affirmation. And what's that affirmation? I am the heavenly worlds. I am the sky shining with the effulgence of the sun. I am the moon, I am the stars. I am the light behind the Milky Way. I am the forests, the mountains, oceans, and all living beings, nothing left out. If your mind doesn't handle it well, understand, follow the simile of reflected sun. A reflected sun is so limited. But it has to be told by Narada, Satsanga movement. They don't stay cramped within the pot. You are the sun. Therefore, you are shining everywhere. Everything that shines is because of the sun. So if you understand the I am in your pot is really the I am that is illumining the whole world. But this whole process has to be also understood is a progressive movement. How much inspiration can you handle? That will be dependent upon how much integrated you are, how much purified you are. So therefore, once you begin to taste the joy of inspiration, the joy of expansion, your interest in sadhana becomes deeper. And your sadhana also becomes well organized, not disintegrated. Integral yoga movement brought in your daily life with patience, persistence, and with a skill that makes your life calm, delightful, tasty, delicious. But not only just for you, but you are able to share this with others. I am Brahman, pure existence, absolute bliss, Satchidananda, the truth behind the illusory world, the supreme knowledge. I am devoid of the world process, supremely peaceful, the knower of all. I am the light that illumines the mind, the intellect, and all the various functions of the senses. I am pure consciousness, light of lights. Who is the knower? Who is the seer? The Upanishad points out. First your attention goes where the eyes see, the senses perceive. But how can the senses perceive if mind is not healthy? If you have lost the health of your mind, your senses, perception of the senses becomes nil or deluded. But even the mind is illumined by your intellect. If you don't have a rationality, your mind's work will be a wasted process. And even your intellect has a deeper source. The ultimate source of your knowing movement, enjoying movement, is the I am, absolute self, Brahman. So don't look for Brahman going here and there all over the world. But just ask your tongue, who makes you taste? Who is the taster? Who is the seer? Who is the hearer? And tap your intellect. Bravo. Now you understand. Then you are in constant touch with God. You are enfolded by God. Even the word, all this is allegorical. You are nothing but the divine self. I am the blazing orb of fire from which the numerous worlds shine like tiny sparks. I am the surging stream of bliss, of which various pleasures proceed like simple sprays of water. I am the shower of honey, of which all these satisfactions of this world are like tiny droplets. In between the rising and falling of waves, the ocean reveals itself. In between the rising and falling of the waves of the mind, I continue to reveal my spiritual identity. All these points you have to understand well. This is called Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga, that is the highest attainment, unity with God, God realization. When you remove the thought waves of your mind, thought waves of your mind create the same process, just like you have in a cinema show. Frame after frame being projected on the screen. Similarly, your thought waves are creating an illusory reality of the world. But by frame after frame, each thought wave brings one picture. Another thought wave brings another picture. But in between there is a space. That space does not shine up when you are experiencing. In other words, that subtle space, just like watching the show, you don't see how one frame moves away, another frame is superimposed upon it. In between, there is nothing but the screen. Human eyes have limitations, so the eyes cannot detect a minute difference from one frame to another. But mathematically, there is a difference. Maybe 1/100 second of interruption. But as you watch, you don't see the interruptions. Therefore, the mind becomes fascinated with the whole show. You will get trapped by it. In the same way, your mind, when you are thinking of any object, your thought is not one simple fact, but it is a process. Again and again, your mind is giving the same frame, but very quick. If you have a deeper practice of sadhana and lead your mind to extreme spiritual quietness, this point becomes clearer. How to stop the vrittis, how to go in between the vrittis. So therefore, turning towards God in a profound way is not dependent upon going to a certain pilgrimage center and waiting for something to happen and Treta Yuga has to come or Kali Yuga has to move. Not at all. It all depends upon in between your two thought waves, in between the vrittis, here and now. That's the reality, absolute self, Brahman. But that here and now is being constantly veiled Here and now is the screen, constantly veiled by projections created by your thought waves. All that is sent quickly, but all that implies now how to alter your thought waves in a sattvic way that will allow you to bring to your mind the glory and the importance of attaining enlightenment. So mind can thereby give a channel, a royal path, and that path has to come from your own mind. I am the Lord of the universe. I am the giver of all desires. Now see what happens. That Brahman, that ever-present reality behind your mind, known as pure consciousness. If your I am can rise to that level, I am that, then how different you are. You are not just a petty little personality, a little dust particle in a vast universe. You are the Lord of the universe. I am the giver of all desires. Any soul, anywhere in the universe, all the desire, who gives the fulfillment of desire? The I am. Therefore, of course, it implies the I am is absolutely fulfilled, absolutely desireless. But desireless because of fulfillment, absolute fulfillment, param tripti. I am the light behind the sun and the moon and all that is luminous in the world. Your power is not just power of your wealth and controlling some people around you and showing your inflated ego. Your real power is beyond mental imagination. Think of the power of a reflected sun versus the power of God, of the real sun. You cannot give any type of ratio between that and the absolute. I adore that self which is like the ever-risen sun. Even the simile of sun creates in human mind the illusion of its rising, its setting, etc. But here the sun is ever risen, no more subject to rising, setting, and many other variations. Which is the underlying reality behind waking, dream, and deep sleep states. For easy understanding, think of awareness, consciousness. You dream, you are waking. Waking happens on the basis of consciousness. Dream happens on the basis of consciousness. Consciousness is invariable in these three experiences: waking, dream, deep sleep. And that consciousness remains unaffected, even if these three are taken away. That consciousness is the I am. And that consciousness is the reality behind the entire world process. This world process is being experienced in and through your own mind. I adore this self, for which the thought waves of the mind have ceased to exist. You are not deluded by thought waves, then that's the description. You have controlled the thought waves, which is free of all karmas, which is devoid of anger and agitation, which is beyond desire and ego. I've indeed realized that self, which enfolds the three states, waking, dream, and deep sleep, and transcends them in its boundless majesty. I have realized that self from which this world proceeds, by which it is sustained, unto which it dissolves. Brahman is defined in this manner in our scriptures. Who is Brahman? What is Brahman? Brahman is that by which all this is sustained. Putting this in a precision language, the self from which this world proceeds. Brahman is that by which all this proceeds, by which it is sustained, and unto which it dissolves. Can you hold on? Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukam bandhana mrityor mukshiyamamritat sarve bhavantu sukhina sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukhabhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.